Hey, everybody, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us to our TMG Podcast today. I'm TJ Norris with the Mullis Group. To my left over here is James Foster, our lead buyer agent with the Mullis Group, and the CEO of the Mullis Group, Mr. Mitchell Mullis.
How you doing? I'm back for another week.
Yeah, so today, guys, what we're going to get into is small business and how they have been affected by the COVID virus. Sound good?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's do it.
I think COVID's all around us, right?
Right.
There's no missing it. There's no dodging it. And, it's here, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, so, Mitch, let's just lead out with a question to you.
Okay.
You always talk about a pivot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. What's something that you have done, one thing that you have done as a team leader to try to separate TMG from everybody else?
Yeah, that's a great question. Pivot. If you ever have the time, go to YouTube or whatever, Google, look up Blockbuster. At one point in time, Blockbuster's the biggest company in the world. I think in the early 2000s, they had a chance to buy Netflix for a couple $1 million, turned it down.
Wow.
Fast forward 18 years, 20 years, whatever it is, they're out of business.
Yeah.
And they never pivoted. So what I mean by pivot is, man, sometimes you got to make a change. And, we had big goals in 2020. And the pandemic hits, and then they shut us down. And I was like, man, what in the world? We're not making any money.
Nobody saw that coming.
No, nobody saw it coming, But I think the biggest pivot we made was we doubled down on our work efforts. And there's no secret sauce that I could give anybody. There was no magic words I can say. It's just good old-fashioned roll your sleeves up and work your tail off.
Yeah.
Because, now it's the buyer pool shrunk. A lot of people lost their jobs this year.
Oh, yeah.
The unemployment rate's out of the roof. So what's that do to real estate? Well, it shrinks the buying pool, shrinks the selling pool because people are scared. And I think, number one, we doubled down on our efforts.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, I knew people were scared.
Yeah.
So I hired Johnson Code Photography.
Yeah.
Why? Well, here's why. Because, man, I needed the best product of photography on our listings that we could have. Not only that, man, the best video. So it felt like, because people wouldn't leave their house.
Yeah, you had to do virtual tours.
Yeah, we sold several homes without people going in them, just off Johnson's video and them feeling like they were there. And I felt like that was a big pivot for us.
Yeah. Johnson Code Photography. Check them out on social media. All right, James. So you had to make a tough decision. We talked about it in the last show of either go with us to Raleigh. It was Hunt Brothers.
Yep, that's right.
Great pizza, by the way.
Yeah, fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're at a gas station, you don't have anything else. Like, that thing tastes better than any Papa John's or Pizza Hut you've ever had before.
You're in Mount Gilead, and there's only a Hunt Brothers around.
That's all there is.
You're in West Jefferson, you see gasoline, and they've got food. Oh, my God.
Sign me up, right?
That's great.
Two birds, one stone.
Yeah. All right. Back to the topic. So, James, you had to make a decision. Do I go to Raleigh? You just bought a house here, or stay here, and you're just starting a new career. So, what did you do? How did you maximize your efforts? What are some things that set you apart as an agent? Because you sold how many homes this year?
I sold 66 this year.
I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a blessing. Okay, so, tell us what you did.
I just got rolling, man. It was January. I sold a handful there. February and March, I was really picking it up. The end of March, this all comes. And Mitch says, look, man, we got to keep going. We got to keep going. I need you guys to double down. We were on Zoom calls. Nobody could leave the house. And he said.
That was at a phone call at 5 a.m. He just called you and was like, we got to start doing more. We got to do this now. We got to do it now.
Like you joke, but I was
for
calling
real.
people 3 times a day. I was calling emergency Zooms.
Yeah, emergency Zooms.
Three times a day.
30 minutes as I'll get on the Zoom call. So here I am. I'm in my kitchen. I'm on the computer. And he said, man, we got to double down. I'm calling people and they don't pick the phone up. Or I'm calling people and they say, man, I lost my job.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, wow. And I only had maybe 25 people that I had. I was new, still third month in. So Mitch came to us and he said, look, man, you guys have to double down. Believe in me now, and this is going to pay for it. So I went from making, 75 calls a day to making 150, 200 calls a day. And making contacts with people and not just calling about real estate, calling to say, hey, how's your family? How's everybody doing?
Yeah.
Making a personal level. And I had a lot of those people come back around and buy houses in summer, once they got over being scared to leave home.
Yeah. And I'll tell you one of the big conversations, man. Let's take COVID out of the picture for a minute. Let's define somebody that's successful. It's somebody that's not scared to work, somebody not scared to roll their sleeves up. And I told them point blank, I said, guys, listen, we're going to have to double down. And I'm not talking about calling once or twice. I'm talking about if you want to be successful, we're going to have to become phone freaking terrorist, okay, and make that many calls.
Yeah.
Wolf. Yeah. And whenever I came in, it was right there. We were in the midst of it. It was summer. Everything was starting to go back up because folks are going to the beach, and there's that common misconception that during summertime, your flus, your whatever, your viruses will go down.
Yeah.
But so things started to peak. So they shut us down.
Shut us right down. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm leaving a stable job, and we're being shut down. I'm like, what did I get into? But again, you had to buy in to what he was saying.
100%.
And if you went apparently by that, it really paid off for you. I mean, if you were willing to put in the effort, you guys obviously were.
Yeah.
Look how much it paid off for you 9 months, 10 months later, where you guys are like, man, all that hustle and bustle that Mitch was talking about is going to pay off. Oh, here it is. It's paying off.
Well, he kept saying 6 months, TJ. 6 months.
And what happened in 6 months? Was that about October? Probably?
I finally, well, it was like right there in November. I finally got to the point where I could time block a little bit,
It's big.
And spend time with the family. But, we're all small business right here.
Yep.
Johnson, you are too. So everybody was affected just in different ways, and I think we stayed ahead of the pivot for sure.
We sure did.
And truth be told, I mean, how nice is it to continue to work in your community, give other people business in your community, and then still make money yourself in that same community? You guys are helping me. I'm in turn realistically helping y'all. You get a cell, I get a house to go photograph. I get a house to go video. You guys get another cell.
Right.
It's a win-win. And the realities of it are, is it just puts it back into this local market of, when I go down the street and get coffee, when I go down the street and buy a steak from the local butcher.
Right.
It's one of those things where, as bad as COVID has been, I think a lot of people have really kind of
Rose to the occasion.
Rose to the occasion of supporting local businesses and just being aware that, hey, I actually pay their light bill, and they'll go down here and pay my cousin that owns this business for this over here.
Exactly.
Or they refer you.
Yeah.
Because ultimately we're in a referral business. You are too.
You're in a people business.
That's
We're
what
the
we are.
people
business.
We don't sell houses. We're not in the house selling business. I tell these guys all the time.
Yeah.
We're in the people business. And I always you talk about rising to the occasion, doing things, the community stepping up. I always go back to Rocky for my whole life. My whole life is based on Rocky movies. And
Adrian.
in Rocky 5, he looks at his son and he says, "Hey, we're a home team. Hey, we're a home team. Who's home team? We're a home team." Well, that's what we are here in this community, in the triad. Davidson County, Randolph County, Guilford, Forsyth, we are home team, and we need to stick by each other.
Yeah.
Mitchell runs up the stairs in his house and throws his hands up and jogs in place.
I'm throwing punches the whole way
Like
too.
you did in Philly.
Sorry. Gosh. Sorry about that.
You guys all just got that mental image, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If I had stairs, you losers.
So, James, let's talk a little bit about your experience with small business. What are some things that you have done maybe to this out of your norm to really support local business? Because to be quite honest, until this happened, I mean, I don't even think we thought about local business.
Oh, yeah.
And how they were affected by this.
Yeah. Well, we went through a time where you couldn't go to the store and buy any food. We would go try to buy steaks or meat or something to make a hamburger. They didn't have it. Well, I went to Thomasville, Schuler Meats. Yeah. The guy had it. They're doing their own thing. We try to always give back to somebody like that. Yeah. I try to stay local with everything we do. Not to avoid the box stores and be crazy about it, but I feel like if that's all we have, then we put ourselves in a bad situation. So everything I buy, local hardware store, I'd rather go there than the big ones.
You may pay a little more, but I mean,
in the long run, it's worth it.
It's folks in the community. I mean,
nothing's more frustrating than looking for a tool at Walmart.
Exactly.
I mean, I love Walmart. Don't get me wrong.
It's going to break in a day.
I was looking for an apple slicer. I had a photo shoot, and I didn't have an apple slicer, and I was just looking for one of those the other day. You know how hard it was to find an apple slicer and all that nonsense that they have in there?
Pretty tough.
What kind of photo slice? What kind of photo?
Well, they had one of those fancy little boards and stuff. And I had a bunch of meats and cheeses. I was avoiding saying it because I'm not sure how to say it properly, and I wasn't trying to put myself. But charcuterie.
Now I feel slighted because you took our pictures and we didn't have an apple slicer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you took my photos too. I didn't get an apple slicer.
cheese and grapes.
If you guys, you and James and Mitch, if you guys would like to get married, just like this couple did for a charcuterie board, we could make that happen.
Oh,
they don't call me Little Mitch for nothing.
Oh my God!
I'm in the middle of
this. Just went south
fast.
Delete that part.
No way.
But at the end of the day, guys, I mean, we worked hard, we did things, but long time ago, back in 06, man, God saved me, changed my life. I told him I'd give him every bit of ounce of glory and praise for everything he ever did, and he gets the credit, and it all goes back to God too.
Yeah.
And TJ, tell us kind of expanding just on the small businesses and things like that. You are one of the ones that's actually made me more aware of small business around town. Yeah. You've been a really big advocate for some of these places that are just right here in local Lexington, North Carolina, where 2nd and Main is. Come check it out if you're ever here. It's a great spot. There's great places to eat right down the road. There's Goose and Monkey. There's all kinds of stuff.
The Eatery is one of my favorites.
Yeah, and TJ is really one of those guys. Like, he went out and bought gift cards when COVID really started to get bad for everybody. Things were shutting down.
It was upfront money. And that's another thing. And I'm not trying to sound like anything. I really wanted to support local, but real estate allowed me to give $100 for a gift card and give them upfront money, where I could come in later down the road. And I was real big in doing that, because my old coach who runs the Eatery right down the street, he's struggling because he just opened this, this was his vision. This is what he wanted. Yeah. And now, they can't serve inside. I mean, it really hurt his business. Old Well, that's another one. Mandy, she was part owner there for a while, 2nd and Main. And, I really went out to those folks and I gave them, again, $100 up front, gift card. And we frequent the place. Everybody kind of jokes like, TJ, you seem like you know everybody in Lexington. Well, to be honest, we visit places, so people see me, and I try to stay friendly. I try to promote my business as well, and by helping others, I think it's going to help me. And
you have helped others. Like, Mitch has gotten food from some of these places that you've mentioned that I've never known about until hanging out with you guys and doing things with you guys. So,
it's extremely important to me. And I know I'm not just slapping a hashtag handle of support local. I mean that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I really do. Yeah. So
exactly. The biggest thing I want to take away, I want to give, TJ a lot of credit for that. Now, nobody told TJ to do that. TJ told nobody he did that. I heard about it through somebody else. That tells the type of people, that the type of person that TJ is and the type of person that James is, the things they do. And that's the kind of people I want to be in business with. And that's what we try to do here at the Mullis Group. We all have got the same like-mindedness, and we all want to do right by the community.
Which is why this podcast goes great, which is why business goes great for you guys, because you guys are able to actually communicate and do well for each other and feed off of each other.
And, another thing, not only Lexington, I'm from Thomasville. Yeah. I live in Trinity.
Me too.
I eat at all these local restaurants. Yeah. We've got an agent who's in the room right now, Big Martin Morales, say what's up. But, Martin worked at Mazzalon in Thomasville for a long, long time. His family runs Mazzalon at 10 years. And, his family runs Mazzalon, and that is the staple of my childhood, going there and getting enchiladas. And, that was a thing. We went to Mazzalon several times a week because I could eat Mexican food every day of the week. You know what I mean?
It's kind of troubling me he's saying Mazatlan. I always thought it was Mazatlan.
Well, you were wrong.
From the back.
Martin, can we get a proper pronunciation?
Get to the mic and say it.
Mazatlan.
Oh, wow. We were both
Mazatlan. I was closer to that.
I can't even say that.
Mazatlan.
Yeah, you're just trying to show off now. Sit down.
That's awesome.
But
I'm not sure I can even say
that. He's one of our agents now. Yeah. And, it just means the world to us that we're able to go and support these businesses and everything. And, hey, it's not over. Guys, you still got time to go out and do some of this stuff. Support local. Yeah. Instead of riding to Walmart to get your stuff, man, go to the local store around the corner.
You guys are making me hungry. I'm going to go to the eatery when we get done here.
I know. That's what I'm talking about.
That good food we had and the Christmas party was off the chain.
Yeah, it was. And kind of going back to that, when I got into real estate, the owner of the eatery entrusted me in selling their home. So I don't feel in debt to them.
Hold on a second.
That's
He was my coach too. He didn't call me.
Well, when you got it, you got it.
Oh yeah, there you go. There you go.
And all that number one stuff that Mitch was thinking is now kind of starting to just like melt. And he's like, wait, what?
Hey guys, I'll be honest with you, man. I'll be the first to tell you, I got a great team behind me.
Yeah.
So I enjoy.
Well, and that's part of what makes you successful, Mitch, is that, as a leader, you have to delegate stuff and trust that the person that you're going to delegate it to wholeheartedly so that it doesn't stress you out regardless of, okay, not only can they do this, I trust them to do it, and they'll make the same good decisions that I would make put in that position. And, with James and TJ, Martin, you've had... I'll tell you, man, I walk in and I see a bunch of different groups of people. I deal with different families. I deal with all kinds of different things being a photographer. Yeah. You guys do so well because you work together so well. Y'all mesh just really, really well together.
And it's really weird because when I first got in, I was joking with James. I always joke with James that I hate him. But
they're frenemies.
It's only like today.
I hate both.
You got one under contract this morning, right?
I did. Yeah.
Everybody's saying, "Hey, congrats, James! Congrats!" I sent him a GIF of Tobey Maguire cried.
It's Spider-Man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. If I need anything, I can call James. He can call me. We are finally to that point where we were competitive when we first started.
Still are.
We still are, but now we can lean on each other, and it's not personal.
No one else can shoot you, but you guys could shoot each other, and you'd be okay with it.
We would do. I'd take one for
the biggest difference I think between 2018, 2019, and now because 2018-19 I had pretty much the same team, and I would come home and tell Courtney my heart is going to explode. I'm having palpitations. We may have to go to the emergency room. I was that stressed. I had no help. I felt like I had to pump and prime everybody.
Yeah.
In 2019, 2020 come around, I didn't want to do that anymore. So
it was going to kill you.
Yeah. And, if this podcast works at all, I'm not saying it does, not saying it will, not saying it won't, but if it does, it's
according to you, it won't.
Because it's going to be because we each bring something totally different to the table that's very beneficial to people. And that's what works in my business. I put them in charge of buying and listing now. I couldn't do that on any other team, or would I trust anybody else in the world to do that. They did an interview for me this morning. I had an emergency. They said, no, hey, I trust everything they say. I would leave my wife and kids with you guys and trust it.
Let's make sure we don't cut that at the wrong part and just say, I would leave my wife and kids.
No, I would say I would trust you with my own families. That's
right.
The kind of guys you are and the kind of guys you've come to be, and you're just helping. And once again, I appreciate you.
Well, how much is that worth? Is trust within the workplace? Realistically, you guys don't necessarily look at it because it's kind of a lifestyle. I mean, you guys now have adopted a different lifestyle than you had when you were a teacher, TJ, or when you were delivering food to convenience stores or working in a music industry.
Yeah, I think trust in our job goes a long way. I mean, if you don't trust that we're going to make 40 contacts or, talk to 100 people a day or something, then, once you break it, it's hard to get it back. So I think you earn that. And, I think all of us definitely have.
Well, and this year probably definitely helped with that, knowing that you guys were up against so much and knowing that each one of you worked as hard as you did in order to still make this not only a good year, but a very successful year for you guys.
Definitely. Go ahead, Mitch.
So we keep talking about competitiveness. We keep talking about trust. Yeah. Another big pivot I made in 2020 with COVID, and I knew we had to double down. But, man, if you double down, you work your tail off, and there's no good culture, no culture where people are excited, people are having fun, everybody's going to be miserable. So that's one thing we really focused on in 2020 was building the culture of a COVID-free, of a COVID-proof culture where we all would support each other and all root for each other and all be good competitiveness and really help each other out.
Yeah, and we did this in a year. I'm coming from something totally different than what James did. Oh, yeah. Martin's coming from somewhere else. Mitch is coming from somewhere else. And we had to mesh, because at the end of the day, I mean, we depend on each other. I get, if I have anything issue-wise, ask James. I don't like him, but I'll ask him.
And what's interesting.
No, go ahead.
What's interesting, though, is that, it just kind of hit me. It was just an epiphany. Anytime I walk into y'all's office, which is sometimes at 9 a.m. with donuts and sometimes at 2:30 in the afternoon, it doesn't matter when I walk in there. There's always a good vibe. Yeah. There, even if you guys are stressed out, even if 20 things are in the air right now and you guys are trying to figure out what the next move is individually for each thing you have going on, the vibe in there never comes off as, we can't do this, this is too stressful. The vibe comes off as uplifting and, all right, this is what we're doing next.
Well, and I think I've got a different stance with Mitch because we've known each other since we were kids.
No, he doesn't.
What I'm saying, if I could finish, sir? What I'm saying is, we as kids played ball together. You naturally have to trust
That's true.
your teammate. Mm-hmm. So we've always kind of had that bond, and it kind of we went our separate ways for a while, and then it circled right back.
So what would advice, just kind of playing off something we've said before, what advice would you give to somebody if they came to you right now, TJ, or to you, Mitch, or to you, James? We'll start with you, Mitch, and then we'll go down the line.
Yeah.
Like, try and keep this to like 30 seconds, but what advice would you give to somebody that is saying, man, I've been in this job for 8-10 years, just like me and TJ were, and I'm not necessarily struggling, but man, I'm not happy. Yeah. And I see what you do, and you always walk around with a smile on your face. You're big Mitch. You're a happy man all the time. And like, how do I make that happen?
And how can I do that during this time? Well, that's so odd.
First off, epiphany. Like me and you were Fairgrove basketball. That's probably why we trust so much. We were Fairgrove football. We were Brown. We were East Davidson. Off on a side note, sorry. But what I would tell somebody would be, in 2018, 2019, I wasn't happy. And I worried a lot about things I couldn't control. Yeah. Finally, I said, man, hey, whether we make money or not, I'm going to cut down lead spin. I'm going to make us more profitable. I'm going to get guys I want to be around, guys and gals that I want to be in business with, that I trust and that I know will work hard. Because here's the thing, man, you guys, we've all become brothers on this panel in a year. I mean, me and TJ a little bit more, but we all become brothers. Yeah. I call them for personal issues. When Courtney makes me mad, but it's.
Can you believe this, TJ?
We have a morning session where he lays down on the couch and just talks.
TJ brings his clipboard.
But and here's the thing: it's very stressful. We carry 30 and 40 deals a month at one time, and there's lots of things going on. Mm-hmm. Luckily, we've got a great transaction coordinator, Stephanie, takes care of a lot of that stress for us. Yeah. She takes a lot of it off of us, but helping each other. And, don't worry about things you can't control. Worry about the things you can control. Focus on that and making yourself happy is what I would say.
Yeah, so I told James when we were sitting in that interview today, I led out with, what is your goal for 2021? Okay? So I thought it was a great question. I mean, that's what I went with. And there was a lot of stuttering. There was a lot of ums. And there was no wow factor.
Wrong. I've always wanted to do that. Sorry.
Well, what?
No, sorry. That was great.
Okay. No, but there was no wow factor there, okay? When you make a phone call, all right, and somebody picks up on the phone, you have 4 seconds to keep them on the phone and keep them interested. He lost me. So I don't think he could do a good job. I mean, I know that sounds bad, but, I mean, there was no peeling any layers from it. What it takes is that first impression. One thing that my coach told me in high school, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, and that is extremely, extremely important in real estate.
Who was that?
Matt Ridge.
I'll go ahead and plug Matt Ridge right here. He's got a coach's show. Tune in later tonight down the street at the Eatery tonight also. My basketball coach, too. Learned a lot from Coach Ridge. So.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think that's whenever you first get in front of someone to sell a home, first impression.
Yeah. This has all come from, I call it, we're always in a lab. I've been in a lab my whole life. I've knocked on doors to sell meat when I was a kid, helping the family business. I've knocked on doors to sell recliners. I mean, I've did everything, door to door when I'm 10 years old selling stuff. But
the size you are right now, too.
Probably. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah, he's literally been the same size.
You want to buy some recliners? No. But
I'm only 10.
And the more I worked on my craft, the more I figured out some of this stuff, And that's the great thing about being on a team. Like, I pour everything I have in you guys. I hope you understand that. I probably get on their nerves a lot of times with all the meetings and the training sessions and stuff like that, but I want to invest so much into these guys. I mean, if you're not happy at what you do, and, that brings me joy. It's helping these guys get to that next level. TJ called me, hey, man, we went to the beach. Man, I bought everything in sight. We had the greatest vacation. James, Mitch, I just brought a 2021 4Runner. That's exciting to me. Yeah. Because man, I pour so much into them.
Oh, yeah. James, what would hold on, Mitch? Let me ask you that too, though, James, just so we get your insight on it. What would you say to someone that said, is it worth it? Is it scary? Like, I'm thinking about leaving something that is what a lot of people consider stable work, a steady paycheck, knowing you're getting this at the end of the month. Would you tell them, look, man, don't hesitate, jump off, just know you got to work hard? What would your advice be?
I would say be coachable. That was number one.
Definitely.
You have to be coachable. You can't come into it thinking you know everything.
I did.
You just scored brownie points with Mitch like crazy. You got to be coachable. Mitch just got so bright inside.
I didn't even have to look at him. He lit up like a.
Hey, I coach a lot. You know what I mean?
It's true. You have to be coachable, and you have to just not worry about taking a risk. I think if you work hard, then your risk will pay off. It surely did for me. But I would say be coachable and not be afraid to do it. If it's something you're passionate about, go for it.
And that's any small business. I mean, that's what we are. Coach at the eatery, left teaching as well. Yeah. And followed his passion, and that's what we did. I didn't realize what my passion was. My passion was teaching. And then now here we are, I get a high from, just like I did back in the day, from, winning a game or something like that. Whenever I sell something, get it under contract, it's fantastic.
Heck yeah, you want more of it, Yeah. You get one under contract, you're like, hey, I'm going to get 3 more this week. And then when you have a couple of days like I do and you get 3 in one day,
Yeah.
See what I'm talking about?
So, guys, as we're closing up here, let's do this. We've had a successful year. We sold 226 homes in 2020.
Yep.
We're in the middle of a pandemic, being shut down 2 months. Give some advice on 2021 COVID-proof procedures, habits to build on.
I was really successful doing some virtual tours. I sold a bunch of houses to people that never even walked in the house until we did a walkthrough the day of closing or the day before closing. I used Johnson's skills with his video tours, but I would go do Zoom calls. Yeah. I would go do I think a lot of it's really follow up too.
Yeah. What about mindset though? Like 2021 mindset, protecting your mindset and protecting a culture. What kind of mindset would you give advice for COVID proofing your business in 2021?
I would say stay determined, keep your eye on the end game, set a goal. If you never set a goal, you don't know where you're at, right? What you're following.
Because what's a goal?
A goal is the end game. So if you don't have an end game, who knows? If you sell, if I sold 5 houses this week, and I had a goal of 50 for the year, well, I can kind of see, hey, I know where I'm going for.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, I tell these guys this all the time, guys, 2021, set a goal, but have a plan, because a goal without a plan is just a dream, okay? Right. And we're not dreamers, we're goal achievers. Set a goal, make a plan, go make it happen. Yeah. TJ, what about you for advice for 2021 COVID-proofing your business?
I definitely think that the goal, you should have an end game for sure, but make every day, do better today than you did yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think, I've got a buddy, he just went to the Navy, and he said that the other night. We were sitting there having dinner. I was like, man, that's a fantastic outlook for 2021. Yeah. Because you can't help what's going to happen in a week, but you can help what's happening right now.
Don't ever get complacent either. That's the complacency kills for sure.
Complacency does kill. I would say work hard, love your family, make sure you take right turns. What I mean by that is take a break from what you're doing, spend time with your family, let them know that you love them, because you can't get those memories back.
Especially in the kind of jobs that we have. And I say we because I'm, in the business of running my own business as well. Sometimes you're so into doing that business, you don't take a break. You work from sun up until you literally go to sleep. And there's times where you're like, wait a second, I got to do something for me, because I'm just beyond stressed out every moment.
I'm very lucky because my wife has pushed me forever. And, my last job was a lot of physical labor. I made 6 figures in a furniture plant, meaning I outworked everybody and busted my tail to get that. So, when I first started, I said, man, taking a couple phone calls is just, it's not really work, it's a hobby. But man, it's turned into something, and I've got to, take those right turns, take some breaks, and really, spend time with my family and take a break sometimes.
Because I can text Mitch or TJ or James at 9:00 at night and be like, hey man, are you up? And they'll be like, yeah, what you need?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's partly because you're family. You're TMG.
Man, look at this.
Now Martin texts me 9, I might not answer till the next morning. I'm just kidding.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for tuning in to the TMG Podcast. Thank you for Second and Main again for allowing us to film here. And thank you to Mandy. We will see you guys next week.
Yep. See you here. Same
Thank
time.
you, Mitch. Thank you,
same
James.
place.
See you guys next week.